Hi, everyone. Welcome to Radiant Living, Inspiring Humanity to Thrive. I'm your host, Marisa B. Today, I'd like to welcome artist Shelly Ann Szigli. Shelly, thank you so much for coming. We have a fascinating show today because it's all about dolls. Hi, Shelly.
Hi, Marissa.
The first question I have is, first of all, can you tell the audience a little bit about how you got started really in art, first of all, and then afterwards in the dolls?
All right. So my love for art began as a young girl, probably 2 till about 5 years old. Anyone asked me, what do you want to be when you're older? I said, I want to be an artist. But that dream quickly went out the door when I started comparing my art to other people and seeing that I'm not the best. And being in a family where art wasn't something that was nurtured so much in the immediate family and our existence. We were hardworking. We had to work really hard to live in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
So I let that go. I don't remember wanting to be an artist past the age of 5. So
Wow.
art for me, I can trace it in my life throughout my whole path because I've always been creative. I have an out of the box type of thinking and way of seeing the world. I was a hairstylist for many years, and it was completely natural for me. I could see a haircut and just know how to cut it. So there were things like that along the way that would link to being an artist, but it wasn't until I was 40 years old and I was doing women's coaching, teaching energetics and spiritual counseling, that type of work, that I hit a wall. And that wall was like, what am I doing? Something is missing in my life. I just feel uninspired. So I stopped everything. And during that time, there was a ad that showed up on my computer for doll making.
Mm.
When I saw this ad, it was like something in me just lit up, and I knew this is for me. This is something that I need to explore. So I took a course with Julia Ingalls, her introductory to doll making, and it was kind of like one of those aha moments where, you know, stuff made sense. And I fully jumped in. I put 1,000 hours of doll making into my first year. I knew it was the key because I was teaching energetics before that. I had created my own modality. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these dolls are the missing component because alone the modality was missing something. Energy work for me had become I knew it worked, but
Mhm.
there was something in it that was missing. And when the doll came in, I'm like, I'm going to work for a year. And if the doll is still forefront and I'm passionate about it, I'm going to bridge the two. And that's essentially where I'm at, is
Mhm.
teaching other people how to make dolls, how to use it in facilitation, in therapeutic work. I
Mhm.
have a system called the SoulDolls Approach Teachers Training, which is energetics, doll making, circles, and workshops.
Mhm.
And I'm in love. I'm in love with the doll. And I'm in love mostly with watching other people and
Mhm.
connecting to the doll because this isn't something singular to me. It's
Right.
an
And it's
archetype.
for everyone, right? I mean, well, and it's and at every I guess experience level, every expert level, every, whether you're a doll maker by trade or someone who's looking to just have a hobby, it's really there for everyone. And I'd like to speak a little bit about really because you um do felting to a certain degree, but you also sculpt the faces of the dolls.
Yeah.
Can you
So
explain a little
I
bit about that?
absolutely. The dolls are needle felted. So it's literally using the needle like
Hmm.
so and wool. And the technique that I use when I'm felting, I don't felt like a lot of people who do felting.
Hmm.
So a lot of people will build the structure and then
Yes.
put the structure on and just kind of blend it. I use the needle and carve into the doll and carve into the face with the needle. So it's a little bit different and it's a little bit of a different process of trusting and letting the
Mhm.
face kind of come forward. But essentially I am needle felting, but I use the needle as a tool to carve out the face rather than build the face, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
And is the face also felt? Or is
Yeah,
the face made
it's
of, it's
it's
also all
all
felt?
felt. So here is
Wow. Look at the
one
faces.
of
The
the
faces are
faces.
fascinating. Yeah,
They're just stunning. And this is the work that's really hard. So when I took the intro to doll making, our faces of the dolls we made were just terrible. And
Mhm,
I knew I'm like, something I want to do when I'm teaching is make sure that I'm offering really in-depth teaching to the faces so that if somebody has the desire to master them, they can.
mhm,
So that's one of the things that I'm really passionate about teaching is that patience of
mhm.
moving through a really uncomfortable process when you're making a doll.
Right. And also it's, but to some extent it's therapeutic in nature
Oh,
because of the, time frame, right, that you're sitting there too. And you, like you said, there is patience involved. And so you have to be in the moment, right? In each moment as you go through the cycle, right, of making the each doll. And I'm assuming each doll is different, right? I
mhm.
mean, I don't want to say they have a spirit, but they have some sort of soul of their own. I would suspect that they, right? I heard from other artists where they say that it calls to them or it's birthed forth on its own, more or less, almost like an unconscious way of doing things. Do you
Yeah.
find that yourself?
Absolutely. When you begin making the doll and even the needling, you're going in and out, in and out, in and out. And there's something that happens in your brain. And I connect it to EDMR a little bit as well, is when you are you're setting an intention and you're felting, you're going back and forth, back and forth. There's something that's happening while you're creating. And I've seen it across the board. I thought maybe it was just me, but as
Mhm.
I've been teaching over the years and watching other people do it, yeah, we're entering somewhere else. We're entering into uh, a liminal space while we're still in the physical world. I have 6 kids at home. I'm a mother of 8 kids. So
Wow.
I'll often have kids everywhere and there's noise behind me, but when I'm making a doll, it's like I'm in both
Mhm.
places. It's
Yes.
a very beautiful way, I feel, to have one foot in and one foot out. And as far
Mhm.
as the dolls forming themselves, I have never been able to plan a doll, ever. Anytime I've gone in, especially at the beginning, because I my brain was a little bit more in the process because
Mhm.
I'm learning a skill. It takes a little bit more thought. And I would think, oh, I'm gonna make this kind of doll. And I would get in it, and the
Mhm.
doll would end up being a completely different doll.
Wow.
So yeah, there's something that forms, and I my brand is called SoulDolls, but it's not
Mhm.
because they have a soul. It
Right.
to me is because it represents our soul when we're
Mhm.
creating. The part that comes out is often not a rational part of us.
Yes. Well, that's why I was so thrilled when you said that you had some time to come on because, you came from the field of health, wellness, healing. You're an artist, but you're also creating these dolls and you're incorporating them in other individuals' health and wellness and healing. Even though it's not a direct lesson that's being learned by your clients. It's almost subliminal that it's happening at the same time when they're creating these dolls. And I do want to speak about that because what I found so wonderful is that you actually not only have classes, but you offer kits, which I find this fascinating. Can you explain a little bit, first of all, about the classes? Because I would think that people are fearful. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard many times people say, oh, I'm not an artist. I could never do that, which I don't think is the case. I think anybody can do anything they want. But if you could just address that, first of all, about the classes and how that
Yeah,
goes.
so my facilitator training program is half and half. Half of them who've come in are doll artists, and half of them have never made a doll in their lives. So it's this beautiful thing watching both type of a person and background come into their artistry because for me, the dolls and making dolls and even holding workshops isn't about we're not going to these things to learn how to make perfect dolls in the approach that I'm sharing. We're going to have an experience. We're going to sit with other women. We're going to mm, nurture our creativity. So to those people who think like I couldn't do that, it's like, oh, you can.
Mhm.
You can do that. And there's this innate something in us, right? Whether it's in our genetics or DNA or soul or whatever we want to call it, that comes forward when we decide to do something. So
Yes.
I've seen people who've never made dolls before, and now they're holding circles and workshops like a
Mhm.
champ. Like you would never know that they had never done this before. And I think what's interesting about my story is I didn't start doing this till I was 40.
Mhm.
And by my first year, I had dolls going all over the world. I had dolls in Ireland. I had dolls going out
Mhm.
to New Zealand. Like it just happened so fast. And not
Mhm.
because I'm, a genius in that way, but when we're dedicated to something and we
Mhm.
decide, then, it's quite easy. Now, the kits, I would love to speak about the kits
Mhm.
because
Yes.
the kits, oh boy, it happened not last Christmas, but the Christmas before. I had this idea. I'm like, I've spent
Mhm.
thousands of dollars testing
Mhm.
materials, like everything. I
Mhm.
know the best of the best, in my opinion. And how much would I have loved to be able to buy something that I
Mhm.
knew I could make 3 or 4 dolls with
Mhm.
and not having to go out and try this or try that or
Mhm.
have, I live a minimalist lifestyle as well in
Mhm.
terms of what we have in a small space.
Mhm.
And I put together this kit in these cheap cardboard boxes, Marissa. They
Mhm.
were like, when I look back at it, I'm like, why was I so proud of these boxes? There's
Mhm.
professional photos of me holding these boxes and
Mhm.
just so excited. Um, but knowing that people can buy this kit, everything's in it. I'm giving them the instructions.
Mhm.
So when someone purchases a kit, they also go into my private
Yes.
community where all my video instructions are there.
Mhm.
And I make a doll with you
Mhm.
in that time.
Mhm.
So you're walking with me through a process where I'm making a doll. You get to see me
Mhm.
frustrated. And sometimes
Mhm.
there's frustration in making the dolls, and you have everything there. So my kits have evolved from that time
Mhm.
and that box. The funny thing was the feedback for the kits that
Mhm.
needed to shift was the box was too flimsy. So my little
Mhm.
heart, my little heart was like,
Yes.
oh no, these boxes. So I created with a team boxes
Mhm.
that you can stand on and they won't break.
Oh,
And they're
wow.
completely custom. Yeah. So yeah, the kits I'm really passionate about, and I love seeing people just, they're going to their felting and all they do is bring out a kit where
Mhm.
there's a lot of felting hoarders. I've seen
Mhm.
it a lot where you can just
Yes.
collect, and yeah.
I would think many artists,
Yeah.
many crafters have that tendency of, well, I got to say it myself, I'm not an artist, but I do it myself. I
Mhm.
see something, oh, I could use that, or this may work for something else. Let me not get rid of that. And before you know it, you're just packed with things, many, many things. And, how much room do you have to store all these things? It's very difficult, right? There's a fine line between that because then when you go to look for something, you're like, oh, I had that and I got rid of it. And then
Yeah.
you need it at that moment. I know that's happened to me many times.
Oh, me too. And that was the thing when I came into this in my 40s with the kids and a busy life, I
Oh, I don't know
knew.
how you do it.
Right. I'm
It's a
like, I don't
difficult.
want to go into a past pattern of hoarding something and not becoming good. So I made the commitment of deciding what I wanted my artistry to be. And when I began making dolls, I bought 3 colors. And I made a
Wow.
rule with myself that these 3 colors are the only
Mhm.
colors you use.
Wow.
And until they're gone, then you can buy your new
Mhm.
materials. And for me, it set in a really strong pattern and foundation for wow, look what I can do with 3 colors. Like
Yes,
who knew? And there's
exactly.
so much I could create with 3 colors. And it also just allowed me to, I do manufacturing of my kits and I just have a
Mhm.
box. I have a box with all
Yeah.
my supplies and it's super organized and I just put
Mhm.
them together. I reorder when I need to.
Mhm.
So yes, I am definitely an ex collector rather than doer.
Mhm.
And I didn't want
Right.
to bring that into my artistry
Right.
in
Right.
this time. Hmm.
Right. Yes, because there is a fine line, as you said,
Yeah.
especially collectors and not doers, because there are
Hmm.
plenty of those as well, right? That collect endlessly but never actually begin anything. So there are those as well. Um, Yeah, I fall in the category. I do things, but I collect too much. I collect too much because I'm always
Yeah.
thinking that I can use it down the line or someone can use it down the line. But I do want to speak a little bit about the felt because when
Yeah.
people hear this, of course, especially if they don't know, they've seen
Uh-huh.
felted items,
Yes.
animals, dolls, creatures, but they don't really know anything about it. Is it, and for example, I don't know too much about it other than seeing the finished products. Are they really pieces of felt that we recall as children that we used when we were in school? Is it that type of felt that you need to use?
No, it is just
See?
loose wool. Let me see if I have some.
Hmm.
I will show you. So
Hmm.
this
Oh, I
is
see. Yes.
what we're creating with.
Hmm.
So this wool is
Hmm.
what we form into our shape,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
we use our needle to hold
Hmm.
it together. So a
I
doll is
see.
made from different pieces. You make the head
Hmm.
separate, the
Hmm.
body separate, and the arms, and then
Hmm.
you attach it and you bring it to life. This
Wow.
is the coloring wool. It's
Hmm.
called merino wool. So
Hmm. Yeah.
this
So
is
that's what
what,
you're using, merino wool.
yeah, for the
So
detail.
now,
And this would be
right.
called
But is it
core.
wool or is it felted wool? Because
No,
isn't felt boiled? Wool that's
yeah,
boiled, or doesn't, isn't that the process of the felt that we, I guess we as lay people think about that felt that you get at the craft store? That's a type of wool that's been boiled and processed.
yes,
So
that would
this
be
looks
loose.
more
Yeah,
like the kind that people spin, or at least that's what it looks like to me. That's the type that people spin, which would be real wool, not
yeah.
necessarily felted, right?
Well, the felt that we buy in the stores has gone through a process. So it would be
Mm-hmm.
loose wool, and they would pull it
Okay.
apart and lay it down
Mm-hmm.
flat.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would have water added to it and maybe some
Mm-hmm.
other things,
Yes.
and it would be pressed. And then
Mm-hmm.
once it gets wet, it sticks together and it forms together. So there's two types of felting, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of, which is wet felting and needle felting.
Okay.
So the dolls that I'm making
Mm-hmm.
here are
Look
needle
at this one.
felting,
How lovely.
isn't she? She's called
I
La
love the fit.
Cruz. So she's from I she's not from Ireland, but she's wearing quite a few
Hmm.
different pieces that are
Hmm.
from Ireland. And this would be
Yes.
wet felted.
Hmm.
This that she's wearing
That
here.
piece, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so there's different types. I've tried wet felting. The woman in Ireland who I co-create retreats
Hmm.
with, she's a beautiful wet felter. So she
Hmm.
does all the beautiful pictures
Hmm. Hmm.
with
Oh,
the felt,
yes.
like just stunning. And I find it so frustrating, wet felting.
Hmm.
It's like it's very difficult for me.
Hmm.
And I think she found the same with the dolls. So it's interesting because I feel like we can kind of be pulled towards
Right.
often one or the other. Some do
And
both.
so, right. And I'm assuming, right, right. Some do both. Some probably have a preference. They may
Mhm.
do both, but like one over the other. But now, do you have to process that felt when you get it first? Do you do anything before you start? Or is it just comes to you already ready to go for you to
Yes,
create?
you can buy your wool in different types of
Mhm.
process. So if I'm using from our llamas outside, so we have llamas on our farm.
Oh, how lovely.
Yes, we live off grid
Mhm.
we're
Oh,
building an
wonderful.
earthship. Hmm.
Oh, how fabulous. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
my husband's working on it right now outside. So right
Now, do
now
you
we're
have a
in a
channel? Are you showing that? Like, do you have a channel that's showing the
we
Earth?
have an Instagram called the Black Pearl Earthship.
Oh,
And
definitely gonna have to list that.
yes,
Yes.
yes, and we're showing our progress of building
Hmm.
and the process with it. But yes, we have llamas outside. So if I
Hmm.
use the raw wool, I'm
Hmm.
going to wash it myself,
Hmm.
pull out because wool gets very, very, very messy,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I'll utilize that in my doll making. But most of the wool, like what you see here, this
Hmm.
one has gone through a process. So this has
Hmm.
been cleaned and
Yes.
it's been carded. So it's in this long line
Hmm.
here. If it
Hmm.
was raw, it would just be like a
Right.
big
Right.
pile of like our
Hmm.
hair almost.
Yes. Right.
So you'd kind of decide what you want to work with. So I
Hmm.
have some facilitators in our training who like to work with just the raw wool, just
Hmm.
pure raw wool that hasn't gone through anything. Because I'm shipping my dolls out
Hmm.
and I ship internationally, I have to be really
Yes.
careful with
Yes.
that. And
Hmm.
if you get nipped for
Mhm.
not properly claiming
Yes.
what the doll is, my business could be in trouble. So I use wool that has been gone through the
Mhm.
process most of the time.
Now, you mentioned that you have sheep on your
Mhm.
property. And so if you're harvesting that wool, do you dye it yourself? And
I
then if
haven't yet.
so, do you dye it organic products or how does that work?
For me, I wash it organically. I would put it through an organic process.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, it's so funny because we're building a nursery. We live on a
Mhm.
self-sustainable farm.
Mhm.
I'm very much into that, but I'm not
Mhm.
militant on it either.
Right, right.
So for me, I'm
Mhm.
not bothered that this maybe has had some chemicals in it
Right,
too. That doesn't really bug
right.
me.
Or that someone purchased, someone dyed it
Yeah, it smells
with fabric
good.
dye or some kind of dye that's not necessarily organic
Yeah,
dye
for
or
me,
natural dyes.
yeah, it feels good. It feels good to me. I am in tune and I like the supplier. I like where it's coming from. He looks after his sheep super well,
Mhm.
but I know his process. I'm sure he
Mhm.
uses some chemicals to get it this
Mhm.
perfect.
Right,
But
right.
for me, when I'm doing it on my farm, am I going to do it
Mhm.
that way? No. I'm going to do it the way that I love the natural
Mhm.
process
Mhm.
of the wool. But again,
Mhm.
if I'm going to be shipping and I'm going to be, especially the kits, like the kits have to meet a code. When I'm packing the codes, I have to have gloves on. I have to
Yes.
do, be very much, I could sell raw wool, but then
Mhm.
again, I can't get into Ireland. I can't get into lots of the
Mhm.
European countries, which the
Now, I
majority
do
of the
have a
business is.
question.
Yes.
I do have a question. I don't really, my show doesn't really get political, but
Yeah.
it's a very real situation that's happening. I'm in the United States, and of
Yep.
course, we have an issue with these presumed tariffs.
Yep.
Have you found an issue? Because I did have someone that I'm friendly with that also has her own YouTube channel who is in Ireland and has found a lot of issues now with shipping to the United States. In fact, and it was quite expensive. And their books, she's a writer, their books,
Yep.
and um, already quite expensive to ship to the United States with the euros, but quite a few have gone back because of the different rules now that apply. Have you found that problem yet with your shipping
Absolutely.
of your kids?
Yeah, so I have two that are halted actually at customs right now. My kits can't get into the United States. But some of
Yes.
that is because of tariffs, but Canada Post
Mhm.
is also on strike here.
Oh,
So
okay.
what ended up happening though with the tariffs to get those packages even to where they are held at
Hmm.
customs, a
Hmm.
lot of money. So you're not making
Yes.
profit. Those two kits that I
Mhm.
sent, there's zero profit. I sent them because I feel
Right.
into the customer who bought them, and
Yes.
I'm like, it's a risk I'm willing to take at this
Mhm.
point to send
Right.
it. But yeah,
And
could
and
I
in
do
all
my business?
fairness, yes.
Yeah.
Right. And in all fairness,
Mhm.
I understand because this was an issue with someone that I know who has a YouTube channel, a very popular YouTube channel, and because I purchased her books myself years ago,
Yeah.
um, making comment many years ago that I purchased it in 2 days or 3 days later, it was here in the from the Irish mail, which was amazing. I couldn't believe it. So, and now she having all these issues, in all fairness, I do understand that because of these rules, those that work with these rules are still figuring things out as well. So it's dependent on who the worker, it's dependent on what they've been told, I guess the location. So that is a problem. And it's a very real problem. That's why I'm talking about it with you, because it is a very real problem. Like I myself, I you just mentioned that you do these retreats, you sell the kits, which I find wonderful. I don't know how easy it is for someone to create a doll from the kit, although you say that you have videos where you're walking them through at least one making of the doll.
Yeah.
But these are very valid issues that are going on.
Oh
So
yeah.
if people in the United States, how would they be able to get something? First of all, are you on the west coast of Canada or the east coast of Canada?
I'm in southern Alberta, so I'm on
So
the
that's in the
west
kind
coast.
of the middle?
Yeah, I'm like
Or no, that's more
central.
towards the west coast. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
closer. BC is right on the west coast, and we're
Yes.
the
Yes.
next one over.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so closer to the west coast.
Hmm.
Right now, where I am with it, the majority of my business, 80% of my
Hmm.
business is in Europe. So that
Yes.
has worked out really well for me. But
Hmm.
when people from the US are interested in the kits, I have two options. One is I can sell them the kit and I can charge the tariff price. And do you still want the
Hmm.
kit?
Hmm.
Or I can give them options of how to purchase in the United
Right.
States. There's a lovely lady, Joyce from Living Felt, who I
Hmm.
absolutely love in the States, and I can just tell you
Hmm.
what to order. And then
Oh,
my
I
private
see. And then you
community,
can, right.
yeah, they can come over to the community and build dolls
Yes.
with us and have my
But you also have
instruction.
classes, right? You have classes
Mhm.
also that you offer, right? That are strict classes that people can purchase.
Yeah, so that right now that's in my private community. For
Hmm.
$15 a month,
Also,
you can
okay.
come into our community and then you have access to the
Everything there.
instructions
Yeah.
to, yeah, to
Oh,
make
that's
the doll.
wow. Wow, that's reasonable. That's really reasonable.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
That's a
it's
reasonable
kind of,
price to be in the community.
yeah, it is. It's a good price and it's accessible. My
Hmm.
business strategy has always been
Hmm.
to have different avenues and to be able
Hmm.
to meet people in where
Hmm.
they're at so that they can have access to make the doll. The doll isn't really about me or about anyone
Right.
really. I think I always say everybody should make a doll. I truly believe
Hmm.
that. So having different avenues, even on my Facebook page, I did a live where
Hmm.
I'm making a doll and I'm showing you as I'm doing
Yes.
it, making a doll.
I
I'm not,
saw that. I actually
yeah,
saw that. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not
It's funny. I don't
gatekeeping
know
it.
how it happened. You know how like minds find each other.
Mhm.
So we had been friends on Facebook, probably from some group or person that we each knew mutually. We had been friends. And then one day I actually saw you. I said, "Oh, let me listen to her." And I saw you actually making the doll. And I said, "Oh my gosh, look at this. This is wonderful." And you were actually showing everybody how to make a doll and explaining things. And I thought it was wonderful. And I was never a doll person
Mhm.
as an adult. I know that many people are fanatical about dolls, and
Yes.
there are tremendous collectors out there, and they collect all different types of dolls. Um, but I personally was never a doll person. I don't know how it came to pass, but I have thousands of dolls now because I used to have I used to have an antique shop as a kind of a hobby, like
So cool.
just a little weekend thing. And I wound up amassing all these dolls. So I find it fascinating because they really truly are works of art. Regardless of how they're made, the type
Yeah.
of material, they really are works of art. The people who create them, they really are artists. I don't think that they get enough credit for that.
No, I feel the doll industry is just emerging. So one of my big things on my vision board is to make many millionaire doll
Mhm.
makers. That's part of my,
Oh,
and I have a
wow.
model where it's completely accessible. We can do this by sharing the doll because it
Hmm.
is completely a corner niche market.
Hmm.
When
Hmm.
I came in, I was like, what is this? Like there seemed to be this like, you stay in your corner and you
Hmm.
make your
Hmm.
dolls and maybe you can do something. Maybe
Hmm.
you'll have your own. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna blow the doll up.
Yeah.
I'm like literally because not because I need to blow the doll up, but the world needs the doll. We
Hmm.
all know the inner child, any type of therapist, we all
Hmm.
like we know the inner child is such a living part of every individual on this
Hmm.
planet. And the doll is a very powerful representation of that part of
Hmm.
us. So
Yes.
I feel you're exactly right. It's underrated. But when
Yes.
people hold a doll, I don't care who you are, if
Hmm.
you hate dolls or, I've had a lot of people when I first got into this be like, ooh, voodoo, like,
Hmm.
kind of the doll type
Yes.
of thing. But then it's like, hold it. And you watch someone hold the doll and it's like,
Hmm.
boom, their
Yeah.
energy changes, something shifts, now they're interested. So I think it's been
Yes.
a niche pocket thing because nobody's really brought it out. Nobody's been loud with it. So my brand is a little bit loud, and I like that. I want to be loud.
Hmm.
I think it needs to be loud to be heard and to be seen in
Yes.
a world that we're in right now. If you're
Yes.
quiet,
Exactly.
you're you're gonna just blend with everything
Yes.
else.
Yes, exactly. And now, because you're doing all these things, you have the classes, you have the private group, you have the kits. What happens to the dolls that you make? Are they now just examples, or do you still sell your dolls? Because that's very different than teaching other people.
Yeah, I sell them. So on when I have one that goes up, I'll post it on social media and I'll write
Mhm.
available. And it's
Mhm.
often gone quite
Yes,
quickly.
right, right.
And then I also have an option on my website that
Mhm.
I just put on where someone can order a custom doll. So
Oh,
someone can
nice.
say, yeah, I would like a doll made for me and
Mhm.
I'll make that doll. I don't take
Mhm.
directions in my artistry at all. So if
Right,
someone said I want a doll with red hair and blue, I would say no.
right.
I
That won't
can't
happen,
do
right.
that. Yeah. because then I would lose it. I would
Hmm.
lose
Hmm.
whatever it is I bring to the table in the
Hmm.
creation of the doll.
Yes. Now let me ask you a few technical questions.
Yeah.
How tall are the dolls
Yep.
that you make? Do you
So,
make them different sizes?
yep, this one is about 8 inches. Yeah. And if you just hold
Hmm.
on one sec, I'll grab one that's about double her
Hmm.
size.
Oh, look at that one. How
So this
beautiful.
one is, she's quite a bit bigger. So she's about
Yes.
14, 15.
Yes.
And this is how, when I first started making dolls, I really
Hmm.
wanted to make sure I was different. I
Hmm.
wanted to make sure I was different than every other doll maker, and I need to have my own thing. I was kind of
Hmm.
obsessed with that because the art world can be very much like that. And then as I started making and teaching people, I'm like, copy me. You can make your dolls exactly like mine because they
Hmm.
won't end up being like mine.
Right.
So
Right.
the big doll was my way of trying to do my own thing and have
Hmm.
dolls that were,
Hmm.
but then it's very time consuming.
Hmm.
And it was taking me such a long time to get a doll done. And then I would have to sell it at a rate or
Right.
price that
Yes.
wasn't accessible for a lot of people.
Hmm.
So then I began making the
Hmm.
smaller dolls.
And that's the next question. How long does it take to do?
A
And is
doll,
that, I'm assuming it's different for different people, and because it
mhm.
is your business, you might be doing it more hours than most. So what's the how long does it typically take you to do it? Put it that way first.
For like this doll, I've probably
Hmm.
clocked 10 hours in total into her.
Hmm.
A lot of it's slow though. So if you're an
Hmm.
artist, if I just want to pump a doll out, let's say I just
Hmm.
want to pump a doll out, I
Hmm.
could do it in 5 hours. Sit still, don't
Hmm.
move. I could do a doll in five
Hmm.
hours with the skill that I have.
Right, that
But
you have,
I
right.
would say for most people, this is a process. Making your doll is going to take you a few days
Hmm.
because I teach it to be a very slow process. When you get
Hmm.
frustrated, take a break, come
Hmm.
back when you're ready. But for most people I see they complete a doll in less than a week. It'll be done and
Hmm.
refined. And you can
Wow.
get the bones done quickly. Like in a couple
Hmm.
hours, I can have the bones of the doll, but the
Hmm.
little pieces, getting the face to be nice and smooth, this
Hmm.
is all time.
I can't believe that they're done just from felt. It's amazing.
Yeah. It blew my mind when I figured this out. Like that just this
Hmm.
and a needle makes
Yes.
a doll. Like that's literally all you're using is
Right.
loose wool like this. Yeah, it,
Yeah.
it's it is definitely a mind something is happening.
Hmm.
And when other
Yes, it
people
is.
experience it, it's like,
Yeah, and
whoa.
I do want to say that I think it's very therapeutic. So
Mhm.
even if you're not going to be a doll maker to sell your dolls, you're not going to be a doll maker to create courses, classes, kits, it's very therapeutic. It is a form of uh, meditation and mindfulness at the same time because you're in the moment. I think it's absolutely wonderful, especially the felt dolls. I'm
Yes.
not talking necessarily about other dolls, although they are works of art in and of themselves,
Absolutely.
especially some of the clothing that's made, which that, all fairness, that just totally fascinates me that how a lot of those clothes are made miniature to reflect, of the clothes of human beings, and then they're made miniature and how well they're made. It's amazing that all of this goes on. It really is, like you said, a niche audience for all of this. But the felt dolls are really they've captivated a lot of people. They have
Mhm.
some sort of, I don't know how to explain it, something that brings them to life, even though it's something basic, simple. Um, it's not an elaborate mold making
That's
doll,
right.
but it's so, even though it might be basic and simple, it really isn't.
No.
It really
No.
has so much to it, right?
And I encourage doll makers because you can go over to clay and you can use a mold for a clay face super easy. You got a beautiful face in 2 seconds and you just paint it up, fine. But with the felting, whatever you're creating, that's your skill. Like you can't fake or mold
Right.
your face with needle felting. Like that is you're creating it, you're going through the pain putting it. So I always say to them, like, when you develop this skill, you're developing something very unique and something even I've noticed now I'm a complete I analyze everybody's face and I can now, like, even I'm looking at you and I can see how a doll would shape with your face beautifully. Like you develop something. I never had that before. I never
Well,
had
what?
that skill. So there is something about felting. It's hard. It's it's something that I feel, have to
Mhm.
have a commitment to. Or
Mhm.
if you, there's a lot of doll artists that make felted dolls with no faces, and
Okay.
they're beautiful. They're
Mhm.
beautiful dolls, um, and they're simple. So you
Mhm.
could do one in an
Mhm.
hour or two, and you have this cute little doll.
Mhm.
But for me, when I started making them, one of the things that I had bought a felt doll in the past, and there were
Mhm.
things I didn't like about it. One, it fell apart quite quickly. The wool started
Mhm. Oh,
getting
wow.
loose. You couldn't really
Mhm.
handle it. So there were things like this when I came into
Mhm.
doll making where I'm like, I want to make sure legacy is important for me. My grandmother was a doll maker. I have
Mhm.
her dolls now and they're like
Oh,
in
how lovely.
perfect condition. Yeah, they're, 45, 50 years old
Mhm.
and they're perfect. So one of the things is I knew with the needle and felting, we
Mhm.
can get these dolls really strong. So my kids
Mhm.
can have them and maybe even give them
All right.
to their grandkids.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's
N-
important for me. Is that this can be
Now,
handled.
yes, they can be handled. Now you're making me worry. I haven't had any felt dolls except one I just purchased within the last year. And it's a small little one, and I'm wondering, I mean, not that anybody's manhandling it or manipulating it,
Right.
but I'm wondering how now I'm thinking how will it stand the test of time, right? Because it may not. It's dependent on how it's created. Yeah.
Yeah, and how you preserve it. Another thing is I have
Right.
kids running around all the time, and I
Yes.
wanted my dolls to be able to handle
Hmm.
being
Yes.
held. If a kid
Hmm.
grabs one and goes plays
Right.
outside, like I don't want this thing to fall apart and
Yes.
be completely broken. So
Hmm.
that's probably another reason why I became obsessive
Hmm.
about that. I have a brain, Marissa, that gets very
Hmm.
obsessive about things.
Yeah.
When it's like I gotta find a way, and I will find
Hmm.
a way for the most part. If I can't find a way, I
Hmm.
won't. But yeah, that drive to figure out how to make them tight. And again,
Hmm.
if I had a doll that I bought and I really loved, I would
Hmm.
just get a needle and maybe
Right,
look.
because you can, yeah.
You could see, is it loose anywhere over the years? And
Hmm.
if it is, you could just poke it
Hmm.
nicely and tighten it up.
Now, do you only do dolls or do you do creatures as well?
I only do dolls right
Hmm.
now. My husband is always telling me, do this, do that, and you could do
Hmm.
so much, and you
Hmm.
can do whatever you want. But I just follow where my heart
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
at, and my heart isn't at making creatures. My heart
Right.
is really about the doll. I'm
Right.
obsessed.
Yes. And now, so let me ask you, since you're an
Yeah,
expert with this, let's hear what you would tell the lay people. How does one start? What's the best thing to do? Because I'm thinking this is going to be very intimidating for a lot of people. They're going to be very
yeah,
fearful to make that first plunge, even though they want to. I'm sure many want to, but they're
yeah.
fearful. What's the best thing to do first?
To jump in and make a decision. Do you want to do it? Yes or no? Right? I'll never sell or encourage someone that, I don't know. You could sell it in a million different ways, but if you have a
Right.
desire, if you look at the doll and you feel a pull and you want to do
Hmm.
it, decide you want to learn the skill.
Hmm.
And if you decide you want to learn the skill, then your next step would be purchasing your materials
Hmm.
and getting somewhere to learn the
Hmm.
instructions. So there's different doll makers. Living Felt,
Hmm.
she has an online videos where
Hmm.
you can make a doll right there
Hmm.
with her. That's often a good starting point,
Hmm.
is that it's free. She'll tell you exactly what to buy. You can watch her
Right.
videos. I'll eventually have videos that you can
Hmm.
watch and you can start. The other
Hmm.
thing is too, if you're completely intimidated, like
Hmm.
completely, is start with something small. Start with just get a needle and some wool,
Hmm.
maybe do a little fox or a little
Hmm.
like something that seems feasible for you. But I do just believe I've seen it, right? The people that come in for the dolls,
Hmm.
aren't people that are generally skilled in doll making, but
Hmm.
they have a draw and
Right.
they're ready to jump in. And like I said, the instructions that I give with my kids,
Hmm.
they're phenomenal. So I've gone to re-record
Hmm.
them. I have re-recorded
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
And there's nothing like the first ones I did because I was
Right.
still mastering the skill myself.
Hmm.
You're
Hmm.
walking through me with me and you're
Hmm.
seeing my frustration where I'm like, "Ugh, you just gotta keep going and get that
Yeah.
face in." Um, so yeah, that's what I would do is I would just decide if you want to do something, jump. And not even doll making, anything.
Hmm.
I really
Yes.
feel like we're in a time, not to get political,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
we're in a time where it feels like things are heavy and dense and not safe to
Yes.
start things. But my God, like the message that drives through me all the time is
Hmm.
now the
Now's
perfect
the
time.
time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, start
It is.
whatever you
Right.
want. Start.
Right. Exactly right. If not now, when, right? Just dive in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when things are
Yep.
chaotic, that's a perfect time to build.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. The creativity should flow at that
Mhm.
time, right? So that we can give back with creativity when everything's chaotic. Now, is the needle a special needle? Like, is it specifically for that job or?
Yeah. So my favorite needle is the 38 star needle, 38 gauge star needle. So if you're
Okay.
somebody watching and you're like, you want to go online and order something to start, you don't want to buy a kit, but I can
Mm-hmm.
give you the link for my kit if you want. But you can buy a 38 star
Hmm.
needle, and this needle is going to do your work for you
Hmm.
like a champ. And then you want to order some core, it's called core
Hmm.
wool, and this is
Right.
what you use. But you can get 37,
Hmm.
30,
There are
40
different
gauge.
sizes. Yeah.
Yeah, but the 38, I make entire dolls with the 38 gauge.
With
I
the
don't
30.
put
Wow.
my tool often. Yeah, you
Right. You don't
can.
switch
You like
off.
that.
Right.
No, I like
So
being
I will
creative.
put that down for the kid. I
Yep,
will put that down for the kid, the
yep.
link. And I do want to find out where people can actually, your group is where through a social media account, through your website. I mean, I will list everything, but I want to
Yeah, I
make sure
have a
that we have it.
platform on school. It's a school
Oh, okay.
platform,
Yes,
and that's
yes,
where I
yes.
have all my video instructions
Hmm.
and videos stored on
Hmm.
there.
Hmm. Okay, so we will list that as well. And that's where the membership goes, right?
Yeah.
That houses the membership
Yes, I
monthly
think we
where
have
people,
about 24 members as of now. So we're growing
right,
slowly.
because you just started, right, not that long ago with
Yeah, I
that.
think about 4 months ago I started it and I've
Yes,
kept
yeah.
it small. I
Hmm.
haven't been pushing it too big.
Right. Yeah, because I'm assuming, right, because it is an intimate thing,
Mhm.
learning how to make dolls. So it is
I'm
something
in it
that
for
you
the
want
long game
smaller.
too.
Yeah.
Like I
Yes,
think
yeah.
it big picture. I think 10,
Hmm.
20 years, not 1 year,
Hmm.
2 year.
Right,
So
right.
it's and that's what I think with anything
Hmm.
that we're doing, whether it's our artistry or
Hmm.
even, going back to school right now. I tell people all the time, if I wasn't and loving what I was, I'd go back
Hmm.
and get a degree or a diploma right now. I would
Right.
definitely jump in.
Hmm. Wow. And now let me ask you, do you do doll shows? Do felt dolls find their way to doll shows or not?
I'm only 3 years into my doll making. So I think it's like next week will be my third year into doll
Hmm.
making. So no, I have not done a show yet.
Hmm.
I have a couple pieces that have been submitted for publications that will come out
Hmm.
next year.
Hmm.
So that's kind of new. That's exciting
Right.
to have that fall on my lap.
Hmm.
But as of now, no, no doll shows. We'll
And I'm
see.
wondering
Maybe.
if they're even out there, right? Because I know there are doll shows. I'm wondering if there are any out
Mhm.
there that do felt in
Mhm.
particular, because it is a different type of doll.
You could, if you had enough of the drive to put together
Hmm.
something for a show and a
Yeah.
gallery, you could apply. I've looked into it to see what it would
Hmm.
take to submit my work into a
Hmm.
gallery.
Hmm.
And it's a lot. You're like artists
Hmm.
work really hard to
Oh,
get
yes, they
their
do.
work,
And
isn't it? Yeah.
it's amazing. And people, and I do want to say this, people don't really realize this, but you have to pay to
Yeah.
put your things in a show. Even if it's a juried show and you might win a prize along with others, you have to pay just to put your things in there to be looked at. And they have criteria. So it's not just fun and games. It is a business, very much a business, and it's a very difficult business. And you have to find your way to get your product to, your artwork to those shows. Yeah.
Oh
And you have
yeah,
to have
no,
big inventory, right? If you're doing like say you're going to have your one woman
Mhm.
show, you need a lot of inventory for that too.
And they could
Yeah.
pull it on you. Like there's so
Yes.
many things
Yeah.
where often the artist has to, in some ways, lay themselves
Hmm.
down. Like when I've read
Yes.
through what would be required to put a show together, I was like,
Hmm.
no effing way.
Yeah.
Like that to my personal standards at this point
Hmm.
of where I'm at, am I willing to drive my time into that?
Yes, in that direction, right? Exactly.
No, like there's so many different models in like our
Hmm.
world has a lot going on, but there is a lot of possibilities
Hmm.
if you can see them. I have
Yes.
an affiliate program with the SoulDolls approach. So every facilitator that brings someone
Hmm.
into the facilitator
Hmm.
program gets
Hmm.
50% of the commission of that sale. And I think that's really important that we look at things like that as well,
Hmm.
because
Yes.
once I got into the art world, I'm like, what is this? There's a lot of
Hmm.
people that really struggle financially, and we don't
Oh,
have to.
yes.
We don't
Yes.
have
And you kind of are in between, right?
to.
The you're in the art world,
Yeah.
you're in the doll making world, but you're also in that healing and wellness,
And
right?
business.
And the
I
healing, the wellness,
understand business
the
very well.
right. And that, that's how I view everything. I think that we all of a like mind should be interacting with one another,
Mhm.
should be promoting one another, should be spending our dollars with one another in a way that makes the planet better, makes each of us better, contributes to each of our lives. I think that far too often our time, our energy, our money, our professions have gone outside to things that we don't necessarily want to partake in. And I think that if we're creating our own communities, I think that that's where we should have all that energy exchange going on. Yeah.
Absolutely. I talk a lot, Marissa, about the village concept as opposed to the
Yes.
tribe. So I think tribal mentality is very suffocating. But when we
Mhm.
think of the village concept, it's actually a really beautiful thing where we
Yeah.
come in not to convert one another or not to pull another one in, but to celebrate, to trade, to coexist and build and grow together. So I love what you said because that's exactly what the future, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
is about us
Yes.
just being like, we are so different and we bring to the table so many
Mm-hmm.
different things, but our values are pretty
Mm-hmm.
darn likely to line up almost
Yes.
almost
Okay.
across the board. I spent five
Right.
years as a Muslim and a
Mm-hmm.
devout Muslim,
Yes.
and I have a daughter that was born in that time as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just such a beautiful thing to realize how similar the human
Mm-hmm.
spirit is. And
Yes,
there's
exactly.
a lot of reasons for us to look at each other and think, that tribal
Mm-hmm.
mentality, but if we ixnay that and we see the
Right.
human spirit, it's quite beautiful.
It is. Well said. Yeah, we have to celebrate all of our uniqueness,
Mhm.
but all of our similarity in humanity, right, as humans. And I think that the more of us of a like mind, and if we are interacting with one another, and we should be interacting with one another, um, soon the old guard will be gone.
Soon.
Yeah, soon,
I always
right?
say the children will change it
Yes.
all. They can't even fathom it. They can't even
Yes,
fathom.
exactly.
They look at us like, what are you
Right.
guys doing?
Right. Like right, how could that ever have been, right? How could that ever have been, or how could that have ever been thrust upon us all?
But we're in
Because
the
that's
rocky
really what
time.
happened.
Humanity's in a rocky
Yes.
time for
Yes,
sure. And
exactly.
that's why I think creativity is so important.
Yes.
And also leaving people, when I think of a lot of people in the energy work business, because
Mhm.
that's what I did before, is I taught
Yes.
energetics. The thing about bringing something like the doll into your practice, when somebody walks away with something,
Hmm.
it's very powerful. When somebody's giving their money and
Hmm.
holding something in their hands,
Hmm.
it's uh what would you call that? Like
Well, it's like it's a reminder that you matter, right? That you matter. That I see, right? We see the beauty in the other individual. You matter, and what we're doing together on the planet, right, matters. And you're leaving with something, that it's a part of me, and I held it dear, and I give it to you for you to hold dear. It's that whole behavior, right? And it's always a reminder. And there's nothing wrong with that. Even, living off grid, living minimally, but having a reminder that we can look at. It it makes us understand that there is a bond, that there truly is a bond, and that there should be a bond between all of us.
That's right. And there is no right or wrong. I don't promote my lifestyle to anyone. Like I'm not saying
Right.
go live off grid. It's so great.
Right.
No, it's hard. It's hard to live
Yes,
off grid. And that's
it
the thing.
is.
And sometimes we like to take what we do
Hmm.
and think we have the right.
Hmm.
And I look at your, I don't know your environment, but I see the richness
Yeah.
behind you, the colors, and I look at I'm like, oh, so beautiful. I
Oh,
love
thank
that.
you. And then people would say I'm a hoarder because
But
I'm a
you're
hoarder.
creative.
I have my husband building buildings on putting
Yeah.
buildings on the property to house stuff, that we're trying to get rid of. We're trying to downsize all this stuff, and I don't think there's anything wrong with people being minimalist, but you're absolutely right. It's just what works for us, right?
And that
Works for
it's
each of us, and that's
beautiful.
fine. And that's fine.
It's not even
Yeah.
just fine. It's not even just fine. It's beautiful when we can find excitement and
Yes.
love for what another person is doing
Mhm.
without feeling like we need to be doing
Yes.
that. Or, there's richness when somebody has
Hmm.
richness in their life. And I believe we're rich when we're passionate about what we're doing, no matter what we're doing.
Hmm.
It's such a beautiful thing to celebrate them. And that's what I think all
Hmm.
of this is all about. And even the doll is
Yes.
bringing more richness to you. Because unless we have it here, we're
Hmm.
not going to be able to see it outwards and
That's right.
love it.
That's
So
right.
yeah, I
And
don't
right, to
think anyone.
celebrate, right? To
Yeah.
celebrate everybody, right? That to celebrate everybody in their uniqueness, in the fact that we're thrilled that everyone is doing well and moving along, progressing along in whatever they believe their progression should be. And we should celebrate that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I always say to people or think this, if you could see what I see in you, my God,
Yeah.
my goodness, like we think we
Right.
have so many problems, which we do. We all have
Hmm.
problems, right? We all
Yes.
got so much things. But sometimes it starts to convolute how we
Hmm.
look at ourselves and how we view ourselves, and we start to lose our, sight of our beauty and
Hmm.
our gifts and all of those different things. And it's right there. It's a
Hmm.
perception switch, which is, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying we just
Right.
automatically do it, but things like following what your heart's calling you to
Hmm.
do. Those are the
Right.
things that start to, remove
Hmm.
the fog, I believe,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming
Thank
on
you.
the show, Shelly. I'm thrilled that we had this conversation today. And I thank you very much. And I thank you for showing us the dolls.
Yes,
It was a pleasure having you on and hearing all about this. It's fascinating. And I will definitely list everything so that people can really join the group and follow you on social media because it's very interesting to listen to.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you for having me. When I saw your videos on YouTube and I did a quick look, I'm like, oh, I love her. She's great. She's great.
Thank you. Thank
Yes, you're
you.
welcome.
You take care. Bye now.
Bye.